Smart 24, driving business.
Officially on air with Star TV and those online, Twitter Spaces and our X Spaces. Welcome again with our topic, Perseverance Amidst Failed Goals. If you just joined us, our guest speaker today, Ms. Caroline Egesa, had just taken us on a journey of trying to understand, one, the issue about vision, knowing your vision to enable you to actually set the goals. And we're like, huh? We're trying to inspire someone who has given up on setting goals because of the experience of failed goals. So as we delve into this conversation further, Ms. Caroline, again, take us through again to that level of setting the vision and getting a refresher on, hey, we can do this again.
Yes.
And it's possible.
Yes.
So your journey. So I just asked you, setting goals, is this a habit that you had always had? Did you find something in your adult education that, yay, Eureka, this is my moment?
Yes,
yes, please.
Yeah. And honestly, it's not like every maybe December I would sit down, have my quiet time, meditate on what my purpose is, then I would go into vision, then visualize it, and then after that write down what I want to accomplish. That was not the case.
Okay.
Yeah. I would go into the year, you know how they say you wing it, you know, and hope that when you have that milestone or you hit that mark, you're really celebrating yourself. But I realized in the recent past that purpose is key. What solution am I giving and to who am I giving it to? Once I appreciate that, then I know that this is what I want to accomplish, and so these are the goals that I want to set. That will help me work towards them. And as I was saying, it can't be one goal because human beings are multidimensional. You have to set goals, spiritual goals, for example, financial goals, you know, because there's purpose in that. You have to be able to set health goals. Are you a certain number of kilos and you want to reduce them? The fitness goals. But even the social goals. Do you realize that your friends don't get in touch with you anymore and you haven't been able to say, this at least once a month I'm going to make sure that I touch base, because that's a goal you are looking forward to. So because we are multidimensional, it's important that you set those different goals in the different dimensions of your life because you want to accomplish certain things. And the one thing that I also want to add is that sometimes our goals are not ours if we have not realized the purpose. You see somebody doing something and say, oh, I also want to do that. Oh, if they can set up that, I also want to do it. Because
if she can coach.
Yes, exactly. You know, so you're not really thinking about it, but you're doing it because somebody is doing it. And I like to call those borrowed goals. They're not really yours.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you end up not putting the passion into it because...
Thank you.
Wow, beautiful.
Yes.
I'm dropping my coaching goal because I was copying you. No, beautiful. No, why? Because why that is important is for someone to be able to know that I can go back to that as we build into perseverance.
Yes.
Because it's a whole ballgame when it comes to that. People have persevered and persevered, and they are done persevering on top of the goals. And so we are here to ensure that we can actually get back to that. I'll just take something from your profile.
Yes.
Did you always think would refer to you as a powerhouse? Is it something that you worked towards, or is that something that surprises you and you're like, oh, while I was on my goals, this happened? Or when you look at your journey to right now, the team lead at URSB,
yes,
is it something that you worked towards, and along the journey would you say there are some things that, if I had an option, I think I'll just take a walk?
Yes. I hear you.
And how
I
do you
hear
maneuver?
Yes. And it's been a journey, as you said, 16, 17 years work experience. And that started, of course, when you have an education, you go to school. And I believe that as you're young, we all have dreams, But even in the dreams that we have, how do we make them a reality? And for me, that was key at the end of the day. I've always wanted to be a lawyer.
Oh, okay.
I had always wanted.
A goal for starters?
Yes. I don't even know, I can't say that this is the particular moment, but from when I was a little girl, I think it's because, sometimes in our days we would watch TV like for 2 hours. It's not like now where it's 24/7 and that sort of thing. Okay. But I like to
TV
see
at your neighbors.
Yes, or at the neighbor. Yes, yes. So I loved the way the lawyers spoke. I loved the way they did things. So at that young age, I knew I wanted to be a lawyer. I was fortunate enough that my father was very principled, and he always shared that he did what he wanted to do, and he had persevered and come from far. So it was a no-brainer that when you want something, you must accomplish it. And it's not going to be an easy road. So that is how, even in school, primary school, secondary school, I kept on persevering. I'll give you an example. I did not go back to the school I was in O-level. And for me, that felt like a failure in that moment in time. Exams are exams. You read, you go in, and then somehow you set the bar high and you fall short by 1 or 2. And so you have that moment of, are my dreams shattered? Is it a failed goal? But somehow I realized that I even need to be grateful that I'm still having an education. But it also told me that if I feel I'm not in that particular space of school I was supposed to be, that means I need to work twice as hard. Talking about it now, I even surprised myself that was my thought process at what? We were 16, 17.
What was I doing at 16?
Yes, but I felt that I needed to ensure that I don't disappoint myself, but also I don't disappoint my parents. So I strived on.
But in that moment, how did it feel like?
In that moment,
it hurt. Mention schools?
It hurt. No, it's okay to mention the schools, because I was primary, I was in Kitante Primary School, then I went to Namagunga, and then for A-level, I went to Maryhill. So I felt, at that time, there's the first class schools and the second class, and at that time, you're in Namagunga, and then they tell you for A-level, you have to go to Maryhill. And you're like, first of all, it's in Mbarara. And you're born, bred in Kampala. So that alone is going to make you feel like, it's like a step down. So that is what I felt at that time. But I said, you know what? This is temporary. So I've got to get back. This cannot put me down.
You felt like that in that moment? And you had to,
yes, in that moment.
16, nice.
Yes, I did. But I said, I have to make it. There's no two ways about it. And for me, it was the fact that it was temporary. I wasn't going to stay in A-level, but I had to make sure that I make it to where it is that I wanted to do law at Makerere University. So that is how I persevered through the 2 years, because I could see where I was going. I needed to accomplish that. Of course, fast forward, I go to law school. I made it to law school, and I gave it my all, so that I ensure that when I am done, I do have that degree. So that is an example of perseverance, even when everybody, and the people, it's important, the people that you surround yourself with on that journey to achieving and accomplish your goal. They are the naysayers who will say, No,
Yeah,
she has that challenge. She thought, but right now it's not happening.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And some are watching and saying, let's see how she'll get up from that. She has fallen. So how are you going to get up from that?
Yeah.
But there are also those who will tell you that I know you've got this. Despite the challenge, we are still rooting for you. It's a setback, but it doesn't mean that your dreams are done. So it's important that as you look at this purpose, at this vision, the people you surround yourself with are important. But the most important thing is that you have to be your number one cheerleader.
I'm just thinking about it like, okay, at 16, fast forward campus, and then I'm thinking, was I that wise to think I'm the, you know? I need to be the number one first, cheer myself up. Because definitely you always want to look at people actually, look to people to help you keep your head up. Because after you've gone through some stuff, you really need people. So in that moment, did you choose, or by default, did you have people that kept you going, like, man, you can do this, let's keep pushing?
No, it was by default, really, at the end of the day. And by default, I mean the two people who will always be there for you, or who are supposed to be there for you no matter what, and that is the parents. Those two at that age kept me going, you know?
Yeah.
Getting into the car and taking you to school to Mbarara, it was very easy to say, get onto the bus.
Yeah, after all.
Yes, after all, you're not as good as we thought, so you didn't make it, so get onto the bus. But they said,
feel the pinch.
Exactly. Like they're punishing you maybe for going below their expectations. No, but they took me to school, and they're saying, we are with you through that action.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I felt that I still had the support of the two most important people in my life at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Fast forward, you're going to work, and then you find yourself, did you wake up, find yourself as the team leader, or secretary? Did you have to step on a few toes?
I wouldn't say.
Did you have another support team?
Yes.
Cheering you
on. Stepping on toes. It's one thing. I think it's the vision at the end of the day. I didn't find myself at Uganda Registration Services Bureau. I went through after law school, after LDC. I had to find my footing.
Okay.
Yeah. I had to say, where do I go now? Nobody, by the way, is going to open the door for you most times to reach that goal, to accomplish. You're going to have to force your foot into the door so that it opens a little, and then you make your presence felt. I'm talking about positioning yourself. At that time when I finished the LDC, I said, where do I start from? I started from a law firm. But even getting there, I said, I need an address. It wasn't about how much are you paying me. No, I can't. I've been to law school at 5 years, investment, and no. Yeah. I just needed a foot in the door, put it on my CV and say, where can I find you? You can find me at plot this, and this is where I'm working. So I appreciated that, and I knew that I had gone back to the beginning. Because every level, when you reach the highest, you go back to the beginning. That's what it is. Primary in P7, you feel you're at the top. In S1, you go back down.
Back to level 1.
Yes, back to level 1. So that's just life. The earlier you understand it, the better off you'll be to be able to accomplish what you're going for. So that is what I did. I was given, I looked for the opportunity. I knocked on doors, and the door was open. And I set my foot in there. And I said, I am going to go from here. But remember, during that time, as I said, we are multidimensional. I was also a mother at that time. Even when I was at Law Development Center, I was a mom. And I needed to do that right as well.
Let's speak to that person who has been knocking on doors. And it's December the 12th?
Yes, 7th, I think. 7th, today is 7th.
And really, it's like this lady, knocked on doors and things opened. But I've been knocking on doors, and clearly the year is ending. How do I get up to knock on that door again? Or actually, interesting, you know how God works. How do I still use the remaining days to still
Yes.
knock on doors? Because that's what we are defining as perseverance.
Yes.
How do you stay at it? How do I wake up tomorrow and still go?
Yes,
Yeah, because it's
knocking
not
on the
easy.
door.
What should keep me? What should really make me get up and do this?
Yes,
I've been at it for the last 350
Days.
days.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. As I said, it's what are you passionate about? And what do you want to accomplish for yourself? What do you want to define yourself as? Do you want to be that person who failed?
Yeah.
Do you want to be that person who persevered?
Yeah.
So it's the definition, and not by other people. It's the way you define yourself. You can't control the way other people define you, but you need to define yourself. So is it as a failure or as a perseverer? And trust you me, the universe is an accomplice. That is what I believe. What you put out there is what you get back. So when you are persistent and you put the positivity out there, and the positivity comes from mindset.
Okay.
What is the mindset?
Lots of work to do in the next few days.
And it can be
That's
done.
amazing, yeah.
Because it's a personal decision. So what mindset is it that you have? Go back to the drawing board. We all go back to the drawing board. I go back to the drawing board. Because you cannot get it right all the time. And why is it that you can't get it right all the time? Because there is no consistency in life. Today is 7th. Tomorrow is going to be 8th. It's different. The earlier you learn that the only constant in life is uncertainty, then you make do with what you have today.
Okay.
Yes, and you give it your best because you don't know about tomorrow. It's uncertain. So that is what should be driving you to accomplish as much as possible.
Okay. So we have the people that you've chosen to surround yourself with, and then you have the inner motivation, the purpose to why you need to overcome or go through this failed goal or the goal to achieve the goal. And I'm looking at myself, looking in the mirror tomorrow and saying, poverty behind me, I need to go out and look for the next opportunity.
Yes.
So if I have that driving me, if I have that pushing me, maybe that should actually keep me going.
No, it should.
Yeah.
It
So when you're trying to talk of purpose, and I was like, yeah, that's actually purpose. If I wake up and say, I cannot not have bread tomorrow, that should drive me. That should.
Yes.
So the moment you actually clarify and put that right down, should push you, right?
Yes.
Sometimes we talk of purpose, and people with our English, we tend to get too much, too broad, and they're like, wait, how do I do that in 1 second? I think it's the drive. I thank you for clarifying it, because it's really the drive to what should actually help you achieve that goal.
The
Keeps
solution.
you going. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
what solution?
Yes. At the end of the day, what do I
problem
want?
is there? And somebody might be thinking that I'm talking about a big problem and that sort of thing. For example, I like to go back to this example of your mother. What you need to do, the solution is that it's your children. You have to be a solution for them. And then because the children that you're raising are going into the world, you have to raise them right. Yeah?
Yeah.
Because you're unleashing them as adults eventually onto the unsuspecting public. So what are you unleashing? Yeah? So what is that you want to see as a mother at the end of the year? How do you want to support your children at the end of the year? Now bring it back even to the workspace.
Yeah.
What is it that you want to see? Do you want to be a better leader? I am the board secretary at Uganda Registration Services Bureau. I lead a team. What is it that I want to see? And by the way, if you want to accomplish something, you have to be self-aware, because it's important to know that if you want to accomplish something, what do you need? What resources do you need to be able to accomplish that? But most importantly as well, what skills do you need? You can't set a certain goal when you know it's going to take a certain measure of getting certain skills, but you don't have the skills and you think it's okay. And why would you set the goal when you know the skills it requires and you don't have the skills? Put it off your list of goals.
Forget the skills.
Go and get the skills. Then once you have the skills, bring it back on the table as a goal.
Wow.
But it's important. And even some goals require a certain character.
Caroline. The Uganda said, "Twala speed." No, this is beautiful, because from what you're saying, on top of the company that I'm keeping,
Yes.
I need the purpose to why I
Yes.
need to pursue this goal. Now we are getting to the skill, the resource.
Yes.
Because ladies and gentlemen online and those, of course, watching us on Star TV, we are speaking into perseverance amidst failed goals. And we are trying to craft ways we can actually stay in the game of all that we have actually set out to do. We are ending the year, but we can still stay in the game and be able to achieve this. My guest today is getting us on this journey, trying to understand purpose, vision, the skill, the resource. Did you actually set the goal because you wanted it, or it was just copied from somewhere? Like I was about to copy something from her. So it's that we are actually talking about. Feel free to appreciate online, Twitter Spaces and X Spaces, join the conversation. Caroline, I'm going to hold you on what you just mentioned, especially when you went into motherhood. Did you always think, did you actually get out and say, you said you have 3 boys. Ladies
Yes.
and gentlemen, she has 3 boys. Did you set goals for each one of them? Is that a thing? Because considering that, yeah, you figured purpose. Is that a thing that you actually had to do as a mother and say, hey, before you get to campus, I need to see you in this form. If not, please go back right here. Just to speak into that mother that thinks, hey man, I've really spoken to this guy. I have done anything I could do.
Yeah.
I think I'm pursuing career now, living along this. The kids will grow themselves because as far as the goals are put, they're only for good.
Yes, yes.
I can't do this. And I
Yeah.
like it, as you speak into it, I also love to hear about your consultancy.
Ah.
Yes, how you merge that. But let's first talk about your boys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. About the motherhood journey, every mother ideally wants to raise their children well, and I put well because society will define what raising children well, nurturing them well, having them successful, what it means.
Okay.
Yeah. We, taking you back a bit, we know what our parents, what it meant.
Yeah.
Education was the most important thing. And even right now, it's very important because that is what society requires from us. That is the way you will be able to succeed when you have a career. It's important to have a career.
Yeah.
So for me, having the children and being able to raise them, it was about what am I inculcating in them? What principles am I raising them on? I'm a person of faith.
Did
What
you
are
put
the
that as a
godly
goal?
principles?
Okay.
You know? So it came naturally. It's difficult. Motherhood is a very difficult journey. There's no book, by the way, that says now go to chapter 12 and that will be on page 25 at the last paragraph. That's where the answer is. There's no such thing.
There is no such thing.
Yes.
There's no such thing.
So it's up to you to say, I know what is right from wrong.
Okay. So I would assume you did for the 3
Yes.
gentlemen.
Yes.
Before you get us deeper into the 3 little gentlemen, let's take another 2-minute break. Ladies and gentlemen, those online and on TV, We'll join you back in 2 minutes. Please do stay around and join the conversation. Thank you.
Smart 24, driving